Wow, this is great. I have music. Hi, everyone. My name is Robert, and I'm the founder and CEO of MessageBird. So how many of you have seen this article? It was a pretty big feature in Bloomberg recently. And here's what it says. Geez, Europe, what more do you need? Great universities, fantastic transit systems, more than twice the population of the US, the finest cars, watches, wine, beer. OK, the Americans do better beer now, but still. So many glorious advantages. And yet, Europe, as ever, continues its reign as the globe's consumer tech underachiever. Now, this is a pretty bold statement, and obviously written by an American, because who really thinks American beer is that good? But I'd like to add a couple of bullet points about Europe. First of all, Europe has more developers than the United States, about 5.5 million versus 4.5 in the US. We have over 25 unicorns, including Adyen, Spotify, Deliveroo, and a whole bunch more. And we have over 100 startup accelerators powering the European tech ecosystem. Over 19 billion of investment went into Europe last year, and over 6 billion into angel investing. And the tech job growth is 3x faster than other sectors in Europe. And actually, in most countries, it's even 5x faster. So when I look at all that, I think this is actually pretty impressive. So why are we not kicking US butt? Now, I don't know about you, but my goal has been to build a global business from the start. We have offices in San Francisco, Amsterdam, and Singapore. And because of that, we have sort of a bird's eye view on what works in the Valley, what doesn't, and the same for Europe. And I've basically seen unique factors that can give us an edge. So these are my 5 key points. Europe's big, so let's start thinking like it. Now, I'm a founder from a small city, Amsterdam, from a small country, Netherlands. And MessageBird started pretty small, a handful of founders in an office, a garage in Amsterdam, that basically tried to solve a problem around global communications through voice and SMS. But even though we were small, we always tried to think big. And today, we serve customers like Uber, Google, Facebook, kinds of customers that need global communication in 50-plus countries. And that's what got us this swanky little office. But especially in Europe, MessageBird's growth has been treated like an outlier, like an exception to the rule. And I remember speaking to a group of founders in Amsterdam very recently. One of them was an HR software company. They're getting some traction in Amsterdam. And my question to them was, so what's your ambition? What are you trying to achieve? And their answer was, well, we'd love to win the Benelux. Now, let me stop you at Benelux. How many of you actually know what the Benelux is? Oh, that's more than I thought, to be honest. But for those of you who don't know, it's 3 small little countries, Belgium, Netherlands, and Luxembourg, the Benelux. We have to think bigger than the Benelux. Europe is the same size as the US and double the population. So what's the point of thinking small? Don't just scale your workforce. Don't just scale your business or people, but scale your ideas. Going global is not an afterthought. Silicon Valley is treated like the end-all as a tech ecosystem. But when you're doing business in one country with one government and one language, things are relatively easy. As the world's becoming more connected, I don't think we need an epicenter of the Valley to determine what the future of technology is going to be like. And if you think about it, Europe's already used to fragmentation. As an example, if you're from Amsterdam, any 2-hour direction that you go, there's a new country. And a new country means new languages, sometimes new currencies, new compliances, but also new thoughts, diversity, people, cultures to think about. And that means that if you're from Europe, you kind of have to approach a global mindset from day one if you want to become successful. And I think that that potential disadvantage actually brings an advantage as you're trying to scale globally. We can go into Asia, we can go into LATAM, we can go into Africa, because from day one, we're building our software to deal with the fragmentation of Europe. Whereas in the US, that's a very different story. Building a business and not an exit. Now, Silicon Valley, from the moment you basically raise money, a lot of people think about the exit strategy. Who are you going to sell to? What's an IPO going to be like? And everybody's chasing that new billion-dollar business. And it's not strange why. Google, Facebook, Amazon, Apple, $500 billion, $1 trillion. These companies, everybody's trying to chase the next big dream and the next big multiple of return on exits. But With decades of VC resources and experiences, it's actually not a surprise that the US jumps so quick on ideas, but it's not the only way. In that sense, the way that I like to think about it is in the US, ideas get funded, and in Europe, traction gets funded. And that's not a bad thing. You know, at MessageBird, we bootstrapped for 6 years until we raised the largest Series A of any software company in Europe ever. And we were able to do that at the best terms. We couldn't have done that if we weren't focused on actually building a sustainable business with actual business metrics, like being profitable. So I think that even though Europe might be at a disadvantage at first of raising money, I think we should use it as our advantage because you're more battle-tested than you were before. The smarter way of moving fast and breaking things. Well, let's start off with move fast and break things. I guess it's one of the most famous sayings in Silicon Valley, and if you've ever been to the Facebook offices, it's written everywhere. But sometimes I feel that in Europe, it's more about being pragmatic and scrutinizing every dollar or euro in that sense. So I would say we need to start blending the two. We need to build a sustainable business model as we're growing, but we need to capture the opportunity as quickly as we can. Don't be scared to think big and capture that opportunity, but you got to find a balance. In that sense, it's like building a house. You want your house to be sturdy, you want your house to be strong, but if you hit a nail in the wall and it's not going so well, you just take it out. And just because you swing the hammer wrong once or twice, it doesn't mean your house is going to fall down. It means you tried something, you failed, you fixed it, and you move on. Diversity. I fundamentally believe that when you're from Europe, diversity is ingrained into your company. And I think that's super important. If I look at my company, it's really into our DNA. We have over 200 employees from over 30 different countries speaking 20 different languages. Diversity of thought, diversity of experience, and cultural diversity is something we deal with every single day. And I think that's an edge when you're trying to scale your workforce globally and trying to serve global customers. We think like them, we act like them, and we speak their language. So, win the world. This is our moment, Europe. We need to start acting like it. It's not about being big in the Benelux or even winning Silicon Valley. It's about winning the world. Thank you.